Billiards date back to the 15th century and have become not only a game, but an art form. Welcome to Celebrate Michigan, a show produced for you on the campus of Madonna University. I'm Dennis DeYonker, and with us today, we're so proud to have him here, is William the Gentleman DeYonker, who recently became the world champion trick shot artist. And we welcome Will to the show. This is so nice to have you here.
Nice to meet you.
Well, you know, and all the times that we worked together here, as you as a student, I never knew anything about your work in competition, and it is, and then you began to share some of what you've done all these years. Fascinating. How did you decide that this is something you wanted to focus on?
Well, you see, back like 10 years ago, when I was 14 years old, like, trick shots became a thing because when I was watching ESPN Trick Shot Magic, it would feature Tom Rosman and Mike Massey, Tennessee Tarzan. They actually were doing all these trick shots live on ESPN for a competition for prize money. And so watching them kind of like with the balls like moving in different places around the table, it kind of got me interested in learning the shots.
Have you ever met those guys along the way?
I met them like later on, just not like back when I first started. My competition was like back in 2013. That was when I first met Tom Rosman, and later Mike Massey. I think it was on the same time period, December 2013.
Sure. And you said you started when you were 14. My goodness gracious, you're what? How old are you now?
24 years old.
So in 10 years, you've become the world trick shot artist. Is this a difficult position to attain, to be the top person in the world, let alone the country?
Well, right now that I'm ranked #1 in the world, it's basically a lot of my plate actually to defend my rankings, because now that I'm #1 in the world, as of for the past month or so, it's really going to be like a lot of my plate to defend my ranking. That means I gotta like watch what I do and watch what shots I can make, and making sure like that every time I go to competition, I always put like my A game on.
Yeah, and do you think you've reached a point where you've got all the trick shots down and you can, and then somebody will probably come into a competition and then show you something different? Have you been surprised by what you've seen, or have you come up with new shots that you didn't expect you'd come up with along the way?
Well, there were times like in the past 10 years, like I'll be thinking of shots that were in my head, and whenever I have a shot I take in my head and I practice on the table, then I would either like A, write it down on paper, and
good idea.
B, take a picture of it, and or C, take a video of it and see how the shot goes. Because everything else, like when it comes to like, it's picture memory, because every time I see it on picture or even on notes or even on film, I actually know what happens every now and how the shot goes.
Do you share the videos with other people to say, listen, what do you think of this? What could I do better? What have I done that I could change?
Well, in the past for new creations, yes, every now and then, but now where I'm at, I'm like, I don't think I want to share them.
Sure. Well, will people then try to emulate you? Well, they'll say, well, Will DeYonker is the best in the world. Will they start to try to take some of your shots and try to beat you at your own shots?
Well, as of per se, right now, everybody has their own technique for trick shots, because people actually will have like the knowledge of actually knowing how to do their shots, because what their specialty is, it's a specialty, and my specialty mostly would be different than our players, and if they have the same specialty as me, then it'd be kind of like a neck-to-neck kind of competition. Sure.
I know people who are excellent bowlers, and they have like 20 or 30 bowling balls. It's tough for me to just have one. How many cues do you have? How many cases do you carry with you when you go to a competition?
Usually I carry like about almost like 10 cues per se,
goodness.
Including jump cues, massey cues, playing cues, and so forth.
What are the difference between the cues? I'm thinking just a pool cue.
Well, this is a pool cue actually.
Okay. Let's take a look at it. Do you mind if I hold it?
Yeah, I don't want. You can hold it. Yeah.
Okay. So what are you looking for in a pool cue when you're playing in a competition?
What I'm looking for in a pool cue is like I make sure it's the right proper length for draw on a cue ball and follow top spin as well.
Is there a proper length for a pool cue? This standard length?
This is standard length. Yeah, this is actually about 60 inches.
Okay. No kidding. Okay. So it's 5 feet long. Okay, all right. And how about balls? Does it make any difference? Are you concerned at all about what quality is being used in those or not?
Not per se, no.
Yeah.
Because whenever they're like different kind of pool balls, I always kind of like test out the pool balls to see like if they actually work well to adjustments of the tables.
Right. That brings me to the question of when you go into the competition, do you walk around, get a lay of the land, look at the tables? What do you do? What do you do to get yourself prepared? It's like a race car driver, I guess. They walk the racetrack, right? Do you walk the walk here in a competition?
Well, what I do is like I just observe the tables and I test out the rails and test out the the quality of the table as well as like how level it is, so that way in case of like a ball is like say position here, aim towards there, but doesn't actually go in a pocket, then I make adjustments.
Right.
So every table is different.
Can you call for somebody to come in and say, I don't think this table is level, I want this table level?
Well, there'll be times, yeah, that I would ask them to be leveled, but not so much because mostly they'll actually have tables level enough to where it's like getting your exact point.
Right. Yeah. What is the difference? I mean, it must be the spectrum of playing pool. Going to a neighborhood restaurant, bar, pub, let's say, to play pool compared to what you're doing. Do you do that? Do you just play a regular game of pool with some friends and family, or is that something that you're just beyond doing now?
Well, right, I still do 8-ball and 9-ball every now and then. It just most of the times nowadays, now I'm a trick shot artist, I mostly beat my friends and family members.
Oh no, I bet they feel terrible about that.
Well, hey, it happens. Like when you become a professional, that's kind of what that deal is.
But does that challenge you? Do you have to continually be challenged to continue to be better?
Every time I come to a competition, I always challenge myself to like what next new upcoming things are going to happen in a tournament, or what's going to be different compared to the previous tournament, or what is going to be like the next level for me to get to in order to keep where I am at.
Well, now being tops in the world, what you just protect you're protecting your turf then, right? Is what you're doing.
That's basically what I'm doing right now these days. I'm protecting my turf.
Yeah, and what is the competition like? What are you dealing with when it comes to people wanting to knock you off the top?
Well, just making sure, like I'm just looking at players to see how they're going to do a trick shot, and looking at them to see how they're going to do the shots, and observe like what their stance is, as well as their cue ball control, as well as how they're aiming the cue when their arm, how they're holding a cue stick and whatnot.
You can really analyze that. Can you tell?
Well, from my perspective, yeah.
Wow, they look at you as a young guy though. How many people your age are considered tops in the world at doing this kind of thing?
For people my age?
Yeah. You. 3.
Just only 3. Me, Florian Kohler, and Steve Markle.
Oh my goodness gracious. And you know them personally? You've competed against them, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I did.
And how good are they, just out of curiosity?
They're pretty much on the same level as I am. I played against Florian Kohler about a couple months ago in Quebec, and it was the first match against him, but we were like neck and neck because we were like about equally, we have the same kind of specialty in trick shots and whatnot.
Well, you know what? We're going to take a little break, but we want to come back because you're going to be traveling. You're also going to get an opportunity to meet your mom, who's a great lady and a huge supporter. But we'll come back and talk to more with Will, the gentleman DeYonker, the world trick shot artist, here on Celebrate Michigan. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Dennis Newbacher, and with us today is a very good-looking pool table, but also it's here for a reason. William, the gentleman DeYonker, is here. He's the world trick shot champion, and joining him is his mother, Dr. Susan Blasquet. So I welcome you to the show, and I obviously can tell the pride that you feel for Will. Tell us about your life with this young man and his growing up, and what brought him to here, because we know there's a lot that we aren't talking about.
Yes.
And he's an amazing young man. So let's open the pages here and talk about it, Susan.
William has overcome struggles that it's unapparent at this juncture.
Yeah.
He was, at 4 years old, he was diagnosed as high-functioning autistic.
Oh.
So he's on the Asperger's part of the syndrome spectrum. What people would take for granted every day, and normal things like talking, or just getting your child to sit at a family dinner, or getting to wear regular clothes. He had eating disorders, things that people would take for granted, were struggles for him. He spoke in 2 to 3 word phrases, and he didn't understand body language and unspoken communication.
Were the schools helpful? And were they public schools too?
Yes, they were public schools,
Yeah.
but our biggest accomplishment was when we took him down to Judavine School for Autistic Children in St.
I'm
Louis,
not
Missouri
familiar
at
with
4
that.
years old.
Oh, wow.
And it's a 2-week intensive program for parents where you're taught to analyze their behavior. We watch him behind a mirror glass when he's with a therapist who teaches basically positive behavior modification.
Right.
It's a reward-based system. So it was really, really helpful because he was so nonverbal that we didn't understand, why he was acting out with his behaviors.
You were probably struggling. Were you struggling to try to communicate with mom and dad or with everybody else, your sister?
Let's see. When I was young, I always had like a mention in my head, like knowing like I know the words, like because when it comes to like watching movies, I actually understand what people are saying in movies and whatnot. But when it comes to like trying to speak it out, it was kind of hard because
Right.
I don't know how to communicate, how to express it, basically.
Was it hard then? Did friends understand that? Was it hard to make friends? I can imagine it might not have been easy.
Well, all I can say is like back then I just didn't have a whole lot of friends because of like my autism spectrum. But I didn't really care much because I was just like the happy kid and whatnot, always like happy to my parents.
It's
and
funny.
whatnot.
It's funny when
Energetic.
I watched you now a couple of years, and you are one of the nicest young men I've ever met in my life.
That's why I'm called a gentleman.
Yeah, well, and you should be, and you should be. You've got to be extremely proud of what he's done, but for a lot of reasons, not only because it's your son, but what he says to everybody else. I can do this. Look what I've done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's the miracle.
Yeah.
He's the miracle. It shows what hard work and commitment can do. It's a team.
Yeah.
It's not the schools that are going to fix your child. You have to be proactive. You have to learn everything there is to learn
Right.
to teach your child,
Right.
and take that to the schools and teach them how your child learns
when he
and
came-
what's going to trigger him and help with modify his
I
behaviors.
can imagine that. But I'm thinking, well, when he came in and said he wanted to do this, what did you think? I mean, I can't do this, but he's the best now. What did you think when he first said, "I'm 14 years old, I'm going to be a champion"?
We had no idea. At 14
Yeah.
years old, we would go upstairs and watch him attempt a shot, which took him 20 tries. And I'd sit there and go, yes, that was excellent. Yes, that was great. But over the years, he got better and better. After a couple of years, I'm like, well, maybe you should start thinking about creating your own shots.
Yeah.
So then he started practicing that. And he had like internet people that they would practice shots back and forth and send shots back and forth. He only started competing 2.5 years ago. Actually, it'll be 3 years this Christmas, because 3 years ago at Christmas time, what he wanted for Christmas was to go to Florida to this unranked event and to compete for the first time. Well, at that juncture, he wasn't quite as good
what
as
a brave soul you are.
He was so brave.
Well, that's very brave.
And so we were like, well,
That's
we're
brave.
going to jump in because we know how he does at home, but how was he going to do in public?
Yeah.
With an audience and things like that. So it was a little bit edgy at first, but the greatest thing was they competed during the day, and everybody kind of knew that something was up. William was a little bit wonky. They couldn't put their finger on what was wrong, kind of socially.
Yeah.
But at the end of the second night when they put on a show. They put on a show for all the people that come, to watch the tournament.
Right.
And William popped up and said, "I've got a shot," and he was the highlight of that show.
That's
It
nice.
was fabulous.
Well, he basically, I don't know how to say this, but you turned the pages on everybody, didn't you? I mean, nobody would think that you could do this, but yet you're now, what you've experienced in your life physically and mentally has made you, in some ways, who you are doing this. Isn't that funny how that kind of, I'm not sure how to explain that, but it's just like, wow, he's the best. And it's maybe because of what he experiences mentally.
You got it. Because
Isn't
it's
that
very, very
amazing to
helpful.
me?
He can pick up a shot, because you were talking earlier about him, other people doing their shots or
Right.
stealing their shots. Well, that's what they do, is they try to come up with some new creation in a tournament to kind of stump the other guy, because they have to emulate that shot within 3 shots, 2 to 3 shots.
Wow.
So somebody can come in with a new shot, and if you've never seen it before, the other competitor has to emulate that shot within 3 shots. So because of his knowledge, because of his ability to learn so quickly, and the geometry about it.
Oh my gosh.
He's
Well, and I like how he set up
kicking
his
it.
practice room too, because he's got the cameras and the things like that. I watched the videos of how you do this, and you're really good at setting it up. Did you, a short period of time in this segment, did you study physics for you? Is that interesting? Can you understand that, the idea of what you're doing with the ball? Because that's hard.
Yes.
That's a difficult. You need to know that.
It's
I
all
think.
about having a 3D mind in your head.
Yeah, yeah, and you have it. Oh my gosh, fabulous. You know what? let's take a break right now because we're going to come back and you're going to show some of the shots. You're going to try to show me how to do something, which is going to be interesting to see. Dr. Susan Splasky, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Thank you for your son being on the being here as
thank
well.
you.
He's an
so
amazing young
wonderful.
man. Okay, we'll be right back with more Celebrate Michigan and Will DeYonker, trick shot artist. Tools of the trade. Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan, and I'm Dennis Newbacher. With us we have William the Gentleman DeYonker. He is the world trick shot pool champion, and he's here to show us some of his trick shots and try to do that as well for me. So I think a lot of people want to see you in action, so take it away, Will.
All right, so this shot here actually is a classic one from the 1970s. It actually was by Steve Miserak, done by Steve Miserak in the Miller Lite commercial.
That name is familiar. Yeah,
I know. It's a pool player. It's a famous pool player
You
from the
bet it
70s.
is. You bet.
Okay, so what's going to happen here is the cue ball is going to hit the 4-ball. The 4-ball goes in this pocket. 15 ball goes in that pocket. 7 ball goes in that pocket. 10 ball goes in that pocket. 8 ball goes in that pocket. Cue ball then goes 1, 2, 3. It makes the 13 in that corner pocket.
I believe you. Now, where do you want me to stand? Just
stand right there. That's
stand right
good.
That's good. Okay.
You're
great.
not in my way.
Okay. All right. Let's see this. I love this. Oh. All right.
Hey.
Okay. Now this one didn't go in. That's just every once in a while that
Every
happens.
once in a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing a trick shot competition, if you miss that part of it, then you actually got to do it again for a second attempt in a trick shot tournament.
Sure. Now we need to get the balls, right? You want me to grab these for you?
Yeah,
or not?
sure.
Okay. Great. How many do you need?
Like about 2 or 3.
Yes. Well, you remember when I was playing pool as a kid, my uncles would come in and say, "Denny, you're pretty good at this. Must be a lot of misspent youth." Is that good enough right there? Or is that
That's
too
good
many?
enough.
Okay, great.
So you want me to just do the same shot again?
If you want to, absolutely. Let's
All
see
right.
it. That was very cool.
Yeah, you
And
guess.
we're getting it from our jib shot above on that.
Actually-
you got that? Oh, that's great. That's a great shot.
All right,
okay.
so basically it's like the same setup like you did on ESPN.
Okay, all right.
And on ESPN you get a second attempt try as well.
Okay.
All right,
Did you want me to try it?
I'm going to show you a different trick shot.
Okay. Oh, darn.
A little less complicated than this shot.
Right.
All right. All set.
I'm ready.
And that's how it's
Absolutely
done.
excellent. And the cue ball is to stay out of the hole.
Well,
right?
a cue ball can scratch. It's still good.
Okay. That's okay. Scratch. Exactly.
All right.
Okay. All right. So you want me to get some balls?
Give me like 4 balls.
Oh, 4 balls. All right. All right.
Now I'm going to show you a trick shot that you're going to do.
How many times do you think you've done that shot you just did? How many times? Can you count? You think?
So far,
Hundreds, thousands?
Hundreds of thousands. I can't.
Yeah.
I lost count of it.
Yeah. And you practice all the time, I'm assuming. When
Yes.
you're home? Yeah. All your practice.
Whenever.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
right now today, since now I'm like a really top-ranked trick shot artist, actually only practice like 6 to 10 hours a week.
Is that really?
Really?
And that's enough? You're comfortable
Yeah,
with that?
I'm comfortable with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's all second nature in me now.
And are you doing? We talked about it in the first segment. Are you doing new shots when you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And something that you don't want anybody to see, obviously. So you're not putting that on YouTube videos because I can see you on
Yeah, I
YouTube
know.
do it. You're not letting the cat out of the
No,
bag,
I'm
so
not.
to speak.
I'm not. I don't show creations as much because I save it all for like when I go to ESPN Trick Shot Magic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So
I'm in your
all
way
right,
here.
this one's going to be a shot that you're going to try for yourself.
All right.
Okay. So
You sure you trust me to do this?
I trust you.
Yeah, all right.
Man. I
all right.
trust
I
you.
hope I can do it. I don't want to let you down.
Don't let me down at all, man. Because I.
You
All right. So
okay? Got those. Okay, so we got the 3 there, 2 here, 1 kind of angled toward that hole.
All right,
See
so-
that? Got to believe the 9's going in there, right? If I do it right, right?
Well-
maybe.
well, okay. Here's what I want you to do.
All right.
grab this
Okay,
cue stick.
got the cue. Okay. And,
And
any way in particular should I used to do this as a
gotta
kid.
no, you
and
gotta
this. What do you think? Is any?
That sounds good. Anywhere you like it.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I want you to come over here.
Okay, great. Let me go. I'll go around you here with my microphone cord. Okay, is that going to work there? That's going to work
All right.
perfectly. Okay.
Now, what I want you to do is to hit dead on straight of the cue ball.
Okay.
Aim straight in the center of the 7 ball.
Okay.
And just watch the magic happen. And just like that.
Oh, I can't believe it!
See?
I did it! Oh, I love it!
See?
I love it! I love it! I
See,
love
now
it!
you can become a trick shot artist yourself.
Oh no! That was because you set it up and you helped me. I couldn't do that on a regular basis.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
I mean, the talent that it takes to do what you're doing takes practice, takes
Yes.
time. And to be able to do that the first time for me, great. Beginner's luck. But you know what? To continue to do that on a regular basis takes practice.
Yes.
So you go to China now. That's
Yes.
a big thing for you.
Yes.
You go to China, you win the championship there, right? What's next then? I mean, you continue to travel the world to compete, to continue to raise the bar for other competitors. What will you teach this to other people someday? What do you think you're going to do with this?
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing more shows and going to be doing more tournaments. And every time there's a tournament coming up, I always just make sure I practice for tournaments and be available at almost any tournament that's happening like within the United States or outside of America.
Sure. Now we want to get the name of the side of the pool table here. Who is the folks that were able to?
Well, the folks here that are called Diamond Billiard Products, they were the people
Okay.
that actually were able to give me this table all the way from Indiana.
Oh, fantastic!
So, yeah.
They actually transported it.
Yeah, transported it. Yeah, by
That was-
ground transportation.
Well, okay. So, are you? This is a selfish question to ask, and maybe something that's private for you. But you're making money at doing this.
Yes.
Is this a good way to make a living? With doing what you're doing?
If the money's right, then yeah, it could be a good career.
Sure. Is it good for you? I mean, let me ask you that. I mean, what is a top prize for a trick shot artist?
Well,
to do
right
this?
now, the highest that we're having so far is $6,000 for a China tournament.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And somebody is paying for you to go there, so you basically that's a profit for you. That's money in your pocket.
Yes.
Wow. What do you? What kind of advice do you have for people that? Like, I mean, I did that shot. That's great. But how many somebody like yourself? Oh, we want to get the website up too, just so I want to make
for
sure.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll see it come on the screen. What advice do you have for people who are interested in pursuing this?
Start watching YouTube video, folks.
Yeah. Really? And
But trick shots, because it's all on YouTube, and people that have done the trick shots today that are about my age, they actually learn them all from YouTube.
Right. I'm assuming too. You need to get out and practice, right? This is not something you're just going to pick up without doing it, right?
No.
Yeah. And you've been doing it now for a shorter time than a lot of other people, and yet you're top in the country.
Yes.
And in fact, in the world. So, well, listen, we got to run. Thank you. It's an honor to have you on the show.
It's an honor, too.
We work with you here in the school. It's great to see you. Congratulations to you. Good luck in China.
Thank you
Will
so much.
DeYonker, the gentleman of the trick shot artist in the country, has been with us here on Celebrate Michigan. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Appreciate that. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being on Celebrate Michigan. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah. Okay, good pull.
Now do it.
Yeah.
Trick shot.
That's-